Alistair, what a cool thing to be coming to something like the Art Fair London and see traditional art here, and then suddenly to turn the corner and see carbon art, Alistair Gibson, Formula One fame. Fantastic.
Well, compared to the Grand Prix pit lane, it's very different. And but compared to being at an art fair, I think this is the first big art fair I've been to, and I'm really overwhelmed by the amount of interest and the amount of enthusiasm people have for my sculpture, especially when I start showing them how it's made and the processes and the procedures. They're almost overwhelmed to think that I go to so much effort to actually get a piece of art out. But it's great to be here. It's a bit sort of terrifying when you first walk in and you think, well, I'm here with some established artists like Damien Hirst and Banksy and all those guys, but if you want to be boxing in the big ring, you've got to get in and you've got to throw the punches. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and so far it's been great. I've sold a lot of pieces and the interest has been super. Formula One, everyone says it's a young man's sport. You can hang in there for the rest of your life if you want to. But I think, I had such an ambition to do something else, to have two big careers in life. I really, really wanted to sort of pursue this art thing, and I was just sort of lucky enough to say, well, I've learnt about carbon fiber, and carbon fiber is beautiful material to work with, and to actually have the opportunity to be a carbon fiber sculptor, and probably the first carbon fiber sculptor in the world, is fantastic. It's a great honor for me to actually say people actually take their hard-earned money, take it out of their wallets or their bank accounts and buy a piece that I've created from a thought that I've had driving down the M40 or sitting at the airport or something like that. Initially I started, walking around the stores and looking at all the big old bins that everything was throwing out because things are out of life and all that, and I thought, well, these things are just sculptures in themselves, a bit of titanium fitting or gearbox clevis or something like that. And I just thought, well, this is sacrilege throwing stuff like this away. So I started sort of collecting bits and pieces and stuff like that, and when I initially started sculpting, I think, well, that looks like a bit of a nostril of a car, or that looks like a little bit of a exhaust fitting or something like that. So actually using the actual parts from the Grand Prix car on my sculptures is great, and the line skull now became such a big part of my sculpting career, and being this sort of iconic piece that I'd like to be identified with as well. And the iconic race that I was identified with in my Formula One career was Jenson's first race win at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and to take the gearbox barrel out of that car and put it on my my favorite sculpture was sort of just a no-brainer for me. And I remember doing the last pit stop where we just did tyres right at the end of the race, and I flicked the lollipop over to first queue and it went clunk, and to think that was the actual barrel moving, and now I'm standing in front of it with an interview from you, it's quite an emotional thing, especially Jenson having such a fantastic race win this morning. I only see things from a distance now, from sitting on my couch with a nice beer and a packet of crisps. And I always knew that Jenson was smooth, and he had really a mature guy. I saw him at Goodwood at the Festival of Speed, and I was amazed of how much time he gave to me. We spoke for nearly 15 minutes, and it just shows how relaxed he is and how chilled out he is. And I think that's what's given him the edge. He's not hyped up. He's world champion. He knows his abilities. He knows that given the right car and the right conditions, he's at the top of the pack, and he's just proved in so many races since he started his career, and recently now with McLaren. He is one of the sort of iconic drivers, but maybe 5 years ago you wouldn't have thought that at all. He was just another guy coming through the ranks. Yeah.
And Al, how's it been going, and what events have you got coming up?
This whole all this work goes up to Manchester for the art fair at the end of the month, and then it's sort of knuckling down and supplying sculptures to my galleries, which are down in Padstow, the Drang Gallery, who brought me here, and galleries in London and galleries in the US and Cape Town. A lot of people buy sculptures for Christmas presents and big things, so it's getting those galleries stocked, and then looking next year at the Monaco Art Fair and hopefully the Frieze Art Fair, which is towards the end of the year. But the galleries keep me really busy. I'm almost amazed and said when they phone me up and say, the Mako Shark sold, I said, well, has it already arrived there? Because I only posted it, I only sent it down by courier a couple of days ago.
And I gather Jay Leno's bought a Mako.
Yeah, he's one of my buyers, and you know, and sort of across the board. John Button has got one of my pieces in Monaco. Rubens has got one of my pieces. David Richards has got one of my hammerhead sharks up in his office. So we've got a broad spectrum of petrol heads. Can you say that, dude? And a lot of art lovers as well. I sold the first of my carbon fiber skulls to a collector in Paris. So it means that there is another side to it, apart from just the memorabilia Formula One petrolhead side. There is also an aesthetic value to my art.